my 2019-2020 NFC and AFC championship game predictions on January the 19th of 2020. First and foremost, it is the Super Bowl that is going to be played on February the 2nd of 2020. It is February the 2nd, that is the 33rd day of the year. Here's why we are going to see the Patriots, Chiefs, Bears, and Saints during Conference Championship Week. First and foremost, it is Drew Brees that is going to be playing in the Super Bowl on the 33rd day of the year after he knocks off the Chicago Bears during the NFC Championship game. This is his birthday numerology. There are 32 prior days to the Super Bowl. He is the 32nd overall pick in the draft. Drew Brees is going to win his second Super Bowl against Tom Brady. He is going to knock off both Peyton Manning and Tom Brady in the Super Bowl to be the GOAT of football quarterbacks. Patrick Mahomes, his birthday, September the 17th, 1995, is a birthday numerology of 41. It is Super Bowl that has gematria 41. Andrew Luck's retirement puts Kansas City Chiefs in the great position to make it to Conference Championship Week against the New England Patriots over at Foxborough this time around. Now, Mitch Trubisky. The reason why he's going to be playing for the chance to play for the Super Bowl on the 33rd day of the year, it is because his birthday numerology is 33. This is why he plays for the Bears in the first place. The Patriots will be playing in the Super Bowl on the 33rd day of the year. It is Massachusetts that equals 33. It is Patrick Mahomes that's going to get a chance to play for the Super Bowl on the 33rd day of the year. It is the Bears that has gematria of 33. That is why the Bears make it to Conference Championship Week. The Bears don't have a shot of making it to the Super Bowl this year. Both the Bears and the Browns. They're going to put the Bears in on Conference Championship Week to put more action on them. Notice how the Kansas City Chiefs are ahead of the Patriots. I mean, big money is going to be made on that. When the Saints win the Super Bowl this year, well, the books will have that covered with this, as well as these two, and then Mitch Trubisky to win the MVP. 200 to 1 to 50 to 1. That's purely madness, and these two happen every single year. Good money is attracted with that. The Rams, yes, it should be pretty easy to make a profit all around when you have all these bets attracted to different teams out there. People that think that the Saints are done, including my Uncle Ed, who's a big football fan who watches the Cardinals every single week in New Jersey. He's not even from Arizona. Yeah, he was born and raised in New Jersey, and he was an Arizona Cardinals fan. And it didn't have anything to do with my dad moving out to Arizona at all. 13 years later from the time that Drew Brees signed with the Saints, he's going to win the Super Bowl over at Miami. 13 New England Brady in the state where the Bears are from, Illinois, has gematria of 99 and 45 after 99 prior seasons. There is going to be a strong chance that the Bears are going to be playing over at Soldier Field before facing off against the Patriots. The Patriots have to be in the Super Bowl because Elizabeth Warren is a Massachusetts native and she is your next president of the United States. 2006-2007, you're aware that the Colts won the Super Bowl over at the Bears over at Miami. 2007's a 7-year. It's Miami. It's Bears. New Orleans equal 45. You're going to see the Bears and the New Orleans Saints face off in a rematch again. Here's why all this happened in 2006, 2007, as well as this year. City of Miami, Bears versus Saints. Chicago Bears versus New Orleans Saints without the F's equals 123. Now, Coach Belichick is going to make it to Miami, Florida. It is Miami, Florida. It is Coach Belichick. That equals 65. I want you to notice that it is Kansas. It is Florida. That equals 65 in Gematria. Here's the caveat. Is that, yes, the Chiefs are going to be making it to a Super Bowl at the state of Florida, but they're not going to make it until Super Bowl 55. And this is partially the reason that they're going to remain at a 1-1 Super Bowl record before this Super Bowl over at the state of Florida. Because as you know, when you go to the list of Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chicago Bears are going to remain at 2 Super Bowl appearances before the Super Bowl on the second day of February. The Super Bowl is going to be played at Florida. Both of these teams are going to remain at 1-1. The Saints are going to be 2-2 in the Super Bowl. And I want you to notice that it's Florida, it's Louisiana. The next NFC team to win over at Florida, right before the 101st NFL season, Louisiana. Philadelphia 101. A narrative for Mitch Trubisky to face off against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. After all, this is the year 20. Wasn't it Super Bowl 20 that the New England Patriots faced off against the Chicago Bears in their first ever Super Bowl in 1986-87? That Super Bowl was at the Louisiana Superdome. Tom Brady's first Super Bowl title was over at the Louisiana Superdome. The Bears won against the New England Patriots. That was the greatest team ever. 18-1 it was. So we will see a narrative for this, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. XX in Roman numerals is the year 20. And you think about Chicago being in conference title week, that the last Democratic president was from Chicago, Barack Obama. The Bears were in the Super Bowl right before Obama got elected in 2008. So you see these political narratives pop up for a big reason, nonetheless. Bears-Patriots will be a narrative in conference title week. The year 20 is when the playoffs is going to happen. This was Super Bowl 20. This is why the Bears have to play in conference title week. All this is really starting to add up. When we go up on the list of Super Bowls to Kansas City, what are we seeing with Kansas City? That's a good question. So can the Chiefs play in the Super Bowl 50 years later, after playing against the Minnesota Vikings? Well, that really can't happen that way. Even though the narrative is there to face off against Drew Brees, Drew equaling 50, and Brady equaling 50. So this is why the Chiefs have to be in there. It's because you have to decode all of those narratives. It is also Mitch Trubisky. You see, the thing about Mitch Trubisky being born on August the 20th is that August the 20th is the 20th day of the 8th month. August the 20th can be written out as 20-8. That forms a 208. 208 happens to be the same gematria as New Orleans Saints. So this is why they have to face off against Trubisky and the Bears. I can see the Saints having to go on the road. I can totally see it. I can totally see it happening. Mitch Trubisky, the big acquisition, drafted in a 37-year, 20-17. Chicago has gematria 37-46. This is why the Bears scored 46 points in Super Bowl 20 when we talk about the Super Bowl in the past. It is January the 19th. Of 2020 that has a gematria of 60. that means that we are going to see these teams play for the chance to. This is why Miami is hosting the Super Bowl in the first place. Bears versus Saints, City of Miami. The 13 cannot be ignored here. It's Coach Belichick. It's him that's going to face off over at Miami, Florida. Patriots versus Chiefs Part 2 for the chance to play at Miami, Florida. The narrative for Trubisky to face off against Tom Brady, those Gematrias of 35. Kansas City, rematch, equal 32. This is why we have to see Kansas City against New England again. Kansas City, New England, Gematria of 33. The Super Bowl is on the 33rd day of the year. KC, New England, Part 2 equals 33. Kansas City versus New England Part 2 with Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady as the Gematria of Florida in Louisiana. This is starting to add up immensely. Foxborough, Massachusetts. When you try to see what all of this is telling you, are you in the city of Foxborough? Because what I'm doing here is to see where these games are going to be played at, and that's going to be pretty tough. I will say right now that the Patriots are going to travel on the road to Kansas City. People are just not going to think that Tom Brady is going to go 2 for 2 over at Missouri. It's Missouri that has Gematria of 123. City of Miami has Gematria of 123. So Arrowhead, that's a lock. That's a lock over at Arrowhead. Now, last thing before I close this video. Soldier Field. Soldier Field has Gematria of 64. It's New Orleans Saints that has Gematria of 64. I'm telling you, these teams in the NFC South can beat up on each other, and the Bears are going to have a really strong year this year. There definitely is a riddle here for the NFC Championship game to be played at Illinois. I will go with Drew Brees to win the NFC Championship game over at Illinois as of today, even though the odds are stacked up against that. I think the latitude-longitude coordinates are going to really say if that's going to be the case or not. I mean, Chicago was incorporated as a city on March the 4th. That is 3-4. It is the Saints that has Gematria 34. Latitude, longitude will provide better answers. .41 degrees. Nothing there much with that. I would have to skip through this. I'm going to say the Bears are going to be hosting the NFC Championship game. They're probably going to host it. Well, let's see. That was 2010 it was? Yeah, 2010. So 10 years later, that should be the case. Conference Championship Week and what it means for all the quarterbacks. Drew Brees, we will get to later. Mitch Trubisky, what is it going to represent? Because this guy is the weakest of the 4 quarterbacks. 22 days from his birthday to January the 20th. When we talk about 22, notice how it's Brees that has Gematria of 22. Notice how the last NFC team to win the Super Bowl was in fact the Eagles. And speaking of the Eagles, Mitch Trubisky lost to them last year. the defending Super Bowl champions. I don't know what else Philadelphia may have to do with this. Although the best indicator for Drew Brees to decode the meaning of his birthday is to see what this is all about. Is January the 20th to the day of the actual Super Bowl. And notice how that's 13 days. So let's see, January the 15th. That's January the 15th. That's Drew Brees' birthday. It would be 18 days from his birthday to the day of the Super Bowl. His last title came against Peyton Manning, number 18. Not only that, but when you scroll down in the Gematrinator, I want you to notice that it is Bears that has Gematria of 18. This is why he would have to beat the Bears on that particular day. Now, I did the whole city of Miami thing. How about city of Chicago? This is a detailed analysis. City of Chicago, Illinois has Gematria of 115. Drew Brees, born on January the 15th. Chicago it is. Chicago it is. Chicago starts with C. I is 9. That adds up to 12. Tom Brady, number 12. It's Tom that equals 12. I believe we're set for conference title week. September the 17th, obviously, is Patrick Mahomes' birthday. This is the last step here. This is the last step to see what his birthday represents for what's going to happen with the Kansas City Chiefs. There are many things that we still need to talk about. And I will talk about it all in this video here because this video needs to be a masterpiece. September the 17th to January the 20th, that is a time span of 126 days. Is he going to face off against New Orleans in the Super Bowl? When we speak of the narratives and not necessarily what is going to happen. And notice how this is 18 weeks and it is Bears that equals 18. So he would suffer the same fate as the Bears on his particular day. Coach Andy Reid's playoff record, must talk about that. I have a touch screen here. This thing is not working out like I need it to. Where's my mouse? 3-6 playoff record it is. Andy Reid's 6th playoff loss is going to occur against the Snake Tom Brady, born in the year of the Snake, 1977. He would have a 3-5 playoff record before facing off against Tom Brady. It's Brady that equals 35, as mentioned before in the video. Then his playoff record is going to be 3-6. He remains at 9 playoff games with the Chiefs before the Patriots faces off against Drew Brees in the Saints. Another special edition of Gematria in Numerology.